Welcome, everybody. I'm Francesco Sacco. I'm a professor of digital economy and SDA Bocconi, and I'm here to discuss with you what will be the evolution of servitization and how it will change all the business model. But I will start from really far away. I will start with a prologue about the evolution of the history of mankind. If you just imagine the history or the big adventure of humankind on this planet, it's in history 250,000 years long. If it were a book, it should be a book of 1,000 pages. What kind of book? A very boring one. Nothing happening in 1,000 pages up to the last 40 pages. 10,000 before the Christian era. The last 40 pages. What was the situation on the planet 10,000 years before Christ? 4 million people in the whole planet. Just 4 billion. The starting of the agriculture. And then slowing, growing up to 260 million people in the year 1 of the Christian era. And then 18th century to double. 18 centuries. And then an explosion of the population. And the future, the explosion will follow. We will reach at the end of the century, this century, 10 billion people. Okay? How was it possible? Difficult. Okay. First of all, we need to use more land, exponential growth. In a more productive way, again, an exponential growth. And to find new sources of energy, not just iron, okay, but more energy and more globalization. Means more trade, to have the best of this planet. Innovation at a faster pace with an adoption rate never registered before in the history of mankind. And the most important innovation, computational efficiency. The gain we had in terms of computational efficiency in less than 1 century was 20,000 billion times. An enormous number. Okay. All of this was possible because of innovation. We think about innovation like something positive. Okay. This is a fair, it's a mass about innovation. Everywhere it's innovation. Here, we are here to explain innovation. But what is the real story of innovation? For Plato, for Aristotle, for the Romans, innovation was a bad word. To be someone creating something new was not a compliment, was an insult. During the Middle Age was the same. During the Renaissance was the same. And then we arrived to the revolutions. For the revolutionary people, was positive to change something, but all the rest of the world just was thinking about the opposite. With the exception of French and American, all the rest of the world was just thinking about the opposite. So when things started changing, just with the Second World War, and Schumpeter. As you know, Second World War ended just because of technology, innovation. And the creative destruction of Schumpeter was the starting of a different way of looking at innovation. It's something that's natural, and we are obliged to creative destruction to innovate, to change and improve the world. Last 30 years, okay, the world as a whole is investing 4 times more than 30 years ago. Purchasing parity, it's an enormous amount of effort in innovation. But today, we are in 2026. We are at the starting of the AI-driven innovation period. What does it mean? Just to think about this, what was in the past the biggest effort in research made by humankind? The atomic bomb was very small. Okay? The Apollo project, 13 years, okay, spending more than 250 billion in today's money, where 25 billion in nominal dollars at the age. But look at this number. $350 billion spent by big tech just 2025, 1 year. And this year they will add 400 billion. And up to 2029, they will add 650 billion, an enormous amount of money. With the effort of the others, it means we are spending in 4 years 11 times what was spent for the Apollo project. An unprecedented amount of investment. Okay. So, what will be the consequences of this? It's enormous. Okay. We already can see some of the impact. Patents and scientific publication. Okay. Just in 1 year, 2022 was the starting. In the future, improved quality, 40% improvement in quality of the scientific publications, and more quicker. That's not all. We have to add on top the impact of the software development. Software development will be not anymore the same. It was divided by 10, then by 5, then now it's a small percentage of what was the time necessary for developing new code. And we cannot really evaluate the impact today. It's enormous. That's not enough. Okay. We have something more adding on this. That's the impact on new materials. Developing a new materials was a research effort of tens of years, 10, 20 years. Now it's a question of months. Okay. Microsoft was able to create a new battery with 70% less lithium, that's very precious, in months. Okay. The impact would be huge. And then in 4 or 5 years, to this explosive mixture, we should add also the impact of quantum computing. And quantum computing will apply to all the rest, to AI and optimization, research in new materials, making it at an unprecedented pace of improvement. Okay. We cannot still evaluate this. There is a cost for this, energy. Energy will become, despite to Trump, okay, a really important question. Why? If we look at the impact of data centers today, data centers are consuming enough energy like, for example, France. And they will consume in next year like Japan. And then like Russia, the 4th world consumer of electricity. And then like European Union as a whole. So, is it possible to create so much sources of energy? It's a problem. Okay. This is a very easy prediction. This century will be a century of innovation at an unprecedented rate, like 2,000 years of innovation in just 1 century. But if we look, just as an example, of this image, and we think about the meeting of an engineer of the 70s with an engineer of today, okay? Looking at a car, they will be impressed, okay? Because they double efficiency, more safer, nicer, okay? With the refrigerator, much more impressed, okay? Efficiency multiplied by 10, okay? But if you look at the smartphone, it's something an engineer of the 70s cannot understand, because the improvement is 1 billion times. The problem is that the refrigerator and the smartphone, they will merge together. Merging a smartphone with a refrigerator, we have a connected product. That's normal. We are discussing about connected products. But what could be the impact? Difficult to forecast, because if we look at the impact of innovation on product and business model, okay, could be difficult because the refreshing cycle is very slow. For refrigerator, it's around 10 years. In cars, it's 6 years. In smartphone, it's 3 years. So all the potential innovation could be appreciated at the level of the product, the refrigerator itself, if we don't change the business model. So it's innovation, changing the product, changing the business model, so I can change, innovate much more, and then change again the product or the service. It's a cycle. In this cycle, servitization is the only business model that's able to sustain this unprecedented amount of innovation. Definition of servitization, quite easy. The transformation of a firm from competing primarily through product or services to competing through results, outcomes, first of all, and value-added services. Value-added services for the client, aligning the interest of clients and producers. So back to the connected refrigerator, okay? We have a connected product. With a connected product or service, we can, with data, change and improve the life cycle program. And data from the life cycle program can improve and change the connected product. But the connected product can change also the store experience. But the store experience will change again the connected products. It's a cycle, self-reinforcing, not one tool, just one evolution, but a process that starts, and then, okay, what will be the outcome? To describe the outcome, I invite on the floor Carmine to explain what could be done in the refrigerator business. Please, Carmine.
Thank you, Francesco. And an applause, big applause to Francesco as well. Thank you for what you shared, because actually in those days we have talked about the customer needs. And actually we tried to group the customer needs in three main pillars. First, in which way we can improve, or at least we can offer a way to improve the energy performances. Secondly, the product rotation. Third, how to use the data in order to create new business, to generate new opportunities for our customers. Knowing this, we want to put at the center our customer. And we start our journey of the servitization from this, I do say, I remind your picture about the refrigerator combined with the mobile. No? We have to start from the connected refrigeration products. And our leading goal is to have 100% connectable products. Why this is important? Because this is becoming an enabler, an important enabler first, to add on top of our traditional after-sales services, something that is new and can be done thanks to the smart cabinet. I'm referring to predictive maintenance, I'm referring to remote maintenance, I'm referring to all the tools that can generate and improve the energy consumption. But this is not only. Smart cabinet can generate data. Smart cabinet can generate data. Data can give a support to our customer to optimize the performance. Think about the stock level implementation. can allow, again, the possibility through the analysis of the consumer behaviors to accelerate some products more than others, or simply offer a better experience to the consumer, but can also help to reduce the waste. But it's not only this. There is another important thing. If I have to summarize what are the three elements that for us are important. First, in a competitive arena that is for sure putting all producers and the retailers as well under pressure, we cannot play only with the price. We cannot play with the price. Servitization will help us to reinforce our value proposition, to maintain the quality of what we are offering at the high level. Secondly, there is another important point. This will generate new businesses for our retailers. This will help our retailers to improve their performance. Third, last. Thanks to the connected refrigeration, we can receive data that will allow us to improve much faster the quality and the performances of our products. So in this way, really, we can generate the cycle, let me say virtual cycle, that will enhance and empower our value proposition.
Well, is it working? So far, if we have to look at data, raw numbers, okay, the impact is huge. Just the example of Rolls-Royce, that's more famous for cars, but the real business is engine for airplanes. Okay, their business was never so cool. The stock price multiplied by 7 in 3 years, less than 3 years, 2 years and a half. Never had so many clients. Why? Because the quality of the improvements given to the engine has been so huge that everybody want to change the model. In your industry, Danfoss, they started with a servitization business, improvement in terms of efficiency, 60%. Another example, Cool Meal, again, big numbers, but Amazon Web Services is the largest example on the planet of the success of servitization. It's like a big ship going like a small boat very fast. 20 billion of turnover, growing 20% per year. The impact, servitization. Why? Aligning the interests of the client and the infrastructure. Perceiving and digesting all the innovation that's possible in the environment. Is it possible to digest so much innovation with a different business model? My answer is no. Thank you.
Thank you a lot, Francesco, for this. Again, it was a pleasure to have you here. Thank you to all for this further insight we are putting during our fair.